Hold on, so I made a documentary that had 167 million views. I spent 7 months in solitary confinement. You come here today to report on me being dragged through the courts again, and as a journalist, you haven't watched that film. You're not a journalist. You're a propaganda machine. You're not even here to find the news. Okay, what am I here for now?
You're here to go to court about...
And what do you know about that?
I don't know much about
He doesn't know anything about it. Of course he doesn't. Have you watched my documentary?
Go on then, mate.
You haven't. So basically, you know nothing at all. You're going to come and get your little snippets, and then your pre-written article, which is going to allege and imply to the British public that I was fear of violence of men. Okay? That's what you're here for.
Well, hopefully, there'll be an unbiased report about you doing these reports.
You're the ITV.
I'm ITV.
No, it's not to be unbiased. Okay? I hope it will be. I hope it will as well. But if you want to be unbiased, why do an investigation as a journalist? It's not just a journalist. You're here to report pre-written articles. You're here to report the agenda. If you were a journalist, you'd watch the film, you'd understand why I'm in court. So you don't even know why I'm in court. What are you doing? What come out of your headline? That's the problem. What comes out of your headline? Okay? And your headline is based on no investigation. You just said that. Okay, these men tracked down my family. They photographed innocent members of my family and put them in danger. I then said to them, do you think I should be able to ask journalists questions? Do you think I should be able to contact a journalist and I'm going to ask you a question? Do you think? Okay, do you think I should be able to contact a journalist? Say you're a journalist down there, so I know who you are. Should I be able to send you a message then? I'm going to contact the camera and ask you questions like you've done to me. Don't know. Do you believe in free press? I do. You believe in free press? I'll ask you again. Do you think I should be able to contact a journalist and tell him I want to ask you a question on camera?
I think you need to perhaps put it through the ITV.
I need to put it through the ITV. If the Daily Mail put it through to me, and they secretly overtly recorded my daughter, my ex-wife, and they put pictures of her in the national newspaper in danger. Is that right? Do you think that's what the Daily Mail did? So, okay, so you don't think that's what the Daily Mail did? I'm facing 10 years in jail for saying I want to ask him a question on camera. Do you think that's right? Do you think the state's got a bias justice judiciary? How are you being caught for that? They endangered my family. How are you, honestly, I seem like a nice way. How are you consenting and you haven't even looked into this? Because you're going to now run a headline and your headline is totally right. What you're doing is feeding propaganda to the public of the establishment and lies about me as a journalist. But you know why? You're controlling me. You're worried about losing your job. I'm not. They can't control me. So I'll turn the camera on and say they're lying. This is how they're lying. Right? And that's what I do. If they don't like that, I get tied up through these courts. Lawfare after lawfare after lawfare. I've done nothing wrong. I've done nothing wrong. My only time, 2 times, being an uncontrollable journalist and being a decade ahead of the rest of the population. I have to get his court because I'm upset to go to the
Tommy Robinson just carried out one of the most scathing interviews yet, this time targeting a mainstream media, MSM Cameraman. In a moment, dripping with irony and intensity, Robinson flipped a script, not the one being questioned, but the one asking the questions. And shockingly, the cameraman had absolutely no idea who Robinson was, not his history, not his views, not even why Robinson is considered such a thorn in the side of the media establishment. The man stood there, awkward, clueless, unable to respond or push back. But that moment wasn't just a personal embarrassment. It was a full-blown exposure of something far more dangerous, the alarming ignorance within parts of the media about the very figure they obsessively attack. It's the result of classic groupthink, where an entire institution becomes so blinded by hostility toward a dissident like Robinson that they can't even explain why they hate him. They parrot the labels, repeat the outrage, but when asked to justify it, they go silent or run. More troubling still, this exposes a deep fear gripping the political and media elite. The establishment is terrified of voices it can't control, so instead of engaging with them, it chooses to demonize and suppress. But when dragged into the light, like in this so-called interview, the emptiness of their narrative becomes painfully clear. Tommy Robinson didn't need to do much. He just asked one simple question: what do you actually know about me? And the silence said it all. A fake interview, but a very real exposure of ignorance, cowardice, and media manipulation in an age of fear.
And forced laughter, the planted questions, all of this is going to disappear because at every single point, things are getting worse. He has to ask Morgan McSweeney what it is that he believes in, but the fact is the chaos is being felt in the economy. The Chancellor said she would not be coming back with new tax rises, but she will have to pay for all of these U-turns which she's announcing out there, isn't she?
Yeah. Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I'm going to look in my folder because here I've got the quote that she had on Sky News. I will read it, thank you. It's what the Leader of the Opposition says. It's worth listening to. What she said was this: Sky News, Mr. Speaker, Israel is fighting a proxy war on behalf of the United Kingdom, just like Ukraine is on behalf of Western Europe against Russia. Well, that was certainly noticed in the Russian embassy, because they put out a statement saying the Leader of the Opposition has finally called a spade a spade. Ukraine is indeed fighting a proxy war against Russia on behalf of Western interests. And they went on to say the illegitimate Kyiv regime, created, financed and armed by the West, has been at it since 2014. So they endorse, they want the detail. I've given the quote. That's what Russia said in response. She asked me what I believe in. I believe in standing by Ukraine and calling out Russia as the aggressor.
In a recent attention-grabbing statement, UK Business and Trade Secretary Kemi Badenoch took aim at Labour's shadow Chancellor Rachel Reeves, declaring that she will have to pay the price for all the political U-turns Keir Starmer is now rolling out during the election campaign. While this may sound like a typical jab at fiscal responsibility, Badenoch's remark is a thinly veiled political strike aimed at the Labour leadership's consistency and trustworthiness, faming Starmer as a flip-flopping figure lacking ideological backbone. But what makes this moment even more serious is the fact that Badenoch's comments were publicly quoted by none other than the Russian embassy in the UK. The Kremlin's diplomatic arm seizing on a British cabinet minister's internal political attack to amplify its own propaganda, especially amid ongoing geopolitical tensions and Western backing of Ukraine, is deeply concerning. It raises serious questions about the Conservative Party's strategic communications and whether they are inadvertently, or perhaps carelessly, providing fodder for hostile foreign powers. Keir Starmer wasted no time in firing back. In a strong and direct statement, he said, "I believe in standing by Ukraine and calling out Russia as the aggressor." This was not just a defense, it was a clear declaration of international alignment, a sharp move to separate himself from any suggestion of ambivalence, especially when a sitting cabinet minister's words have been co-opted by Vladimir Putin's regime. This episode illustrates a far more dangerous trend in modern politics. When domestic political attacks are launched recklessly, with no regard for international consequences, they can and will be weaponized by adversaries abroad. In this case, what may have seemed like a routine swipe at Labour's platform has become a propaganda asset for Russia, creating friction in the UK's foreign policy narrative, particularly in the West's information war with the Kremlin. In the end, this isn't just about a war of words between Britain's two main parties. It's a stark reminder of how language, whether a few lines in an interview or a single quote, can become a strategic weapon in a much larger battle, the fight over information, trust, and the values a nation must uphold while navigating an increasingly volatile geopolitical landscape.